top 5 or 6 cars were running in the 2 9s and 2 10s. And this is Marcus Ambrose pulling in.
Fresh rubber for car number 4 with Russell Ingall keeping the duties. The clock's ticking because they're still pumping fuel in there.
And quite a number of people using this opportunity, and I think there's a problem with car 19. There's some drama going on in the front right corner of this car. They're all having a good look at the brake caliper or the hub. A lot of people have taken the opportunity, Matthew, to make an adjustment to their cars, as I suggested before, so the conditions have changed. I'm hearing that there's a shock absorber, a broken right front shock absorber. This is the reason for the safety car. Team Dynamic, Simon Wills, car 44 has gone off at the final corner and buried it in the sand trap down there.
Gee, that's fairly deep too. These guys haven't had a really successful weekend so far with this brand spanker at Team Dynamic.
Classic 0 to 0 scenario, isn't it? After starring at Sandown only 4 weeks ago, had a really difficult week.
People will also obviously use this to ease the pressure in this fuel situation. Here's the replay of the Simon Wills off. Oh, now we know why car 19 has damage to the front right corner. So the reason that 44 is bunkered is that there was contact in that final corner.
And pretty nasty contact too. The front right of this is now in the garage.
Darren Walter with his head down there.
David Bernard was at the wheel at the time. He's blotted his copybook for a second time, in fact, after a big off at the beginning of qualifying.
Senior mechanic at Ford Performance Racing, John Gray, under the car there as well. He's been involved in Glenn Seaton's racing campaigns here for many years, and that's a big job and an awkward one at this point. It's stinking hot down in there, in that wheel well. Look at the damage, broken the Watts link in this car, so the whole rear of the car's come unglued, and
you're going to watch that axle move laterally. Watch it go right across from side to side.
Oscar Fiorinotto on the radio saying, take it easy. He's got to get that car around. Look at that.
He's got 6.3 kilometres.
Slow it down, Simon.
Very slow.
Simon Wills is saying it is out of control. I don't think he's going to make it.
He's got to slow down.
Oh, there's a lot of smoke in here now.
Now the cabin starts to fill up with smoke, and it's like driving on ball bearings to limp it around.
This is memories of
like
Tom Walkinshaw in 1988 limping up with a similar problem, and he is going to cut through those tyres. That car's basically sitting down on one of those tyres, whichever one's taking the most load.
Remember our roll centre adjuster story early in the day. This will have broken that centre bolt in the bell crank, and the whole rear suspension, the whole diff housing assembly is just floating under that car. Darryl?
Yes, I'm down here with Jason Bright. Jason, an early stop, I guess, with pace car, but surprise driver change.
Yeah, well, you know, we're just trying to sort out how we finish the race now. So, you know, the car's great. You know, I've got no doubt, you know, Paul will get out there and you know, move up a few spots again. And, you know, we were sort of working our way through them, and then I got stuck behind the shell car and then couldn't go any further. But, you know, the car's certainly got the pace, you know, in the race once again.
Surprised by the pace of the race?
No, not really. I expected, you know, a pretty hot pace. In fact, I probably would expect it to be a little bit hotter. I mean, I don't know what the guys out in front were doing. You know, we were getting held up a bit where we were. So, you know, but the car, everyone, you know, the track's been quick all weekend. It's been the first time where we've had a dry track all the way up to qualifying and everything, and that's why you've been seeing such good times.
All the best.
Thanks, mate.
Well, the frantic work continues on car 19. Owen Kelly, they've thrown a new shock at it. A pretty disappointed David Bernard, but if it's broken like that, it must have been a fair hit.
Yeah, I didn't actually see it, Rusty, but apparently there was contact with the Team Dynamic car, and at the last corner there, like I said, I didn't see it, so I'm not really sure what happened, but it appears that it's broken the shock. So,
is there any other damage? You thought there may have been something else affected too?
Yeah, it looked like maybe the sway bar link was bent, but I don't think it is. So.
Hard luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Don't forget, Ford and Holden fans, this is your chance to get involved in the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000.
Isn't it amazing just how much of a domino effect a single incident can have? Look at Simon Wills still skateboarding this thing down Conrod Straight.
Can you imagine what that's doing underneath that car at the moment? So it's not just a simple repair.
Bring us straight in the garage.
On the radio. Simon Wills trying to limp it around. He's done a good job to get it back to the pits, but it's going to be a real mess under there. Grant?
Stephen, that was a very interesting situation. You came in, you basically sat in the pit behind the number 18 car for quite a while they did their stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about this sort of strategy early on in the weekend. Sitting here and waiting for 15 seconds for the second car to go, rather than sitting in the line for 4 minutes, is a lot better, because you'll see other people come in probably next, and you know, because we've done this, we've really lost nothing, and well, one car went past us, which is nothing, and yeah, you know, it won't disadvantage us in any way later.
Tell me about the exhaust.
It just seems to have some sort of an exhaust problem, whether it's got a hole in it, in the muffler, or, well, I'm not really quite sure, but it sounds like a bit of a Mack truck at the moment, and down a little bit of straight line speed. But you know, apart from that being noisy and vibrating inside because of that, it's handling fine and it's going well.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, mate.
The reason that Stephen Johnson is talking about that is that this year regulations dictate that the teams must operate from a single boom in pit lane. So if you're a multi-car team, a 2 or a 3-car team...
That happened a few laps earlier on the Strathfield replay, and I wonder if that's...
Actually, I think it's a muffler, is it? Is it a bit of...
I'm not quite sure. What it is. Carbon fibre or something?
Don't know. Anyway, it's Stephen's reporting it sounds a bit ugly. Hope it's not a broken header.
Safety car peels off. The Audis into pit lane. The V8 Supercars now have the track once more to themselves. Restart for the race on lap 14.
Back to full speed. Greg Murphy, as he's done so often this weekend, in the #1 spot. Garth Tander in second, Lowndes up to third, Radicic in fourth, Ellery, Ritter, Cleland, Winterbottom up to 8th now, Brad Jones in 9th.
Andy Jones' car smoking heavily. The 888 Aussie Male Falcon halfway up Mountain Straight at the moment. It's gushing blue smoke as the number 19 car comes back in. No, the number 5 car, I should say. This is because of the queue that forms to get under that single boom. Now, he's had a punch in the back, and that's why, because the rear bumper assembly is just rubbing on the tyre. So hopefully that doesn't give him any grief and it pushes itself back again off the tyre.
And look who's managed to climb back into contention at this early stage. Just 2 cars back from Andy Jones. Here's his uncle Brad. He's clawed his way back up to 9th position as a result of some of those pit stops in that safety car period. Oh, did Stephen Ellery hit the wall then? He ran very, very wide.
The reason Bradley's climbed up is he elected not to stop. They needed to go with a different strategy, you see, because they need to get back in the game after that turnaround early with the contact with Tander. So by staying out, he shifts himself back up to get track position.
If you're wondering what the blue chips are on our race score, that will show you how many times they've completed their compulsory pit stops. So you see there that Thexton and Voigt didn't opt to come in. The rest on that page certainly did.
When everybody came in and grabs fuel, they also hit the fuel reset button on the steering wheel so that the telemetry gives an accurate burn of how much fuel's being consumed. This little window early in the race has probably largely removed the concern for a lot of the operators, but we'll monitor this. It depends again on how the race unfolds. We've also had a black flag report for car number 45, Jan Magnussen and Nicholas Manassian in the second team dynamic car. Some days just go from bad to rotten, don't they?
Can you believe that?
Exceeded the speed in pit lane, some action in the chase.
Brad Jones just sneaking up under car 9, Mark Winterbottom. He's also under attack from the Orcon Ford as they pile down into Murray's corner. Oh, there's a locked up brake on the Orcon car, and he's going to go right off.
Started way back for Jason Bargwanna.
Oh, you can see he was in trouble 150 metres out of that turn. Looked like too much rearward brake, and he just could not get the thing pulled up in time.
Just stop by yourself, it's still a long way.
He might have got in a bit deep. The other thing that happens here is that obviously as you burn fuel, you've also got to move your brake bias further to the front. And you've got to monitor it very carefully at Bathurst because, as I said before, in kilogram terms, the load over the back wheels of the car changes pretty quickly lap on lap.
How do you monitor how much rearward or front brake bias? Is it just through feel, or is someone telling you in the pits that you should be doing it? Or
straight out of the seat of the pants, Marco. Look at this. Seat of the pants on fire there at the moment for Bargs.
Oh, just clipped the HRT car as well. Just clipped it. Rusty?
Well, Matty, just listening to the radio here and a bit of frantic movement at the Holden Racing Team pit, it sounded as though Mark Scaife radioed in that the guard may be rubbing on the tyre. They are now in contact with him, trying to figure out how bad it is. Jeff Grech will often spend each lap as they come through Murray's corner and up pit straight. He'll walk straight out of the pit bunker and have a good close look firsthand at what the car is like. So, well, watching closely car 1 right now.
Yeah, Rusty, we should get a good look as he comes through here. Now, watch the front right-hand side of car number 1. You'll see some damage. Look at it.
Saw him just clip the Orcon forward.
There is no smoke coming off it, mate. It looks fine on TV.
It's got a bit of damage, though, and that could affect, obviously, front downforce and brake ducting, perhaps. Bit of smoke there.
Safety car. Track may be even blocked.
Well, there you go. That's the word from pit lane. So they're telling Skate that the track may be blocked.
No.
And that's why a 4-car pilot.
It is blocked.
It is seriously blocked. This is a race stoppage kind of blockage. Look at this.
Scenes of yesteryear, only a little further down the road.
This is 1981 all over again, folks.
One of the Shell Helix cars involved in there. The Orcon race is in there as well.
Now, if they can move at least one of those cars, they'll be able to keep this field threading through it. Let's have a look at the replay.
Look at them lining up behind him now. This is car 18, so Max Wilson going in. Behind him is the Orcon Falcon. They touch there. Jason Bargwanna side by side. They spin. That's not the end of it. Crunch. Oh, boy.
Bargwanna involved in 2 incidents in the space of a lap. And that second one was a nasty one. Top of the mountain, 200 kilometres an hour. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, and what a perfect opportunity for these blokes to sort this out.
Having a little bit more trouble than they'd expect to get rid of that. Now, I think they might have called for a brand new front spoiler.
He's had one of those years. Remember at Wanneroo, contact with Rodney Forbes when someone else is getting in trouble. He's been in the wrong spot. Driver change.
It's always the risk you take in the overlap. When you go for one of those early stops, it puts you back in the pack, and it makes you vulnerable to that sort of situation. Mark Skaife has been caught out.
That chopper perspective up the top of the hill has got me a bit puzzled as to how that incident fully unfolded. But that's an extraordinary incident up the top. Rusty?
I'm just down here with Todd Kelly. Neil, he's just watching on at this point in time, and this is an unfortunate way to kick this off.
Yeah, it's not good, but to be honest, we're a little bit lucky now that we've got a safety car. It probably won't end up being so bad, but we definitely didn't need it at this stage of the game.
What's the process here? The boys are going to throw a new front splitter at it. What's the assessment of the damage sound like?
Well, once the new spoiler's on and we pull the guard out, it should be fine. It's you know, I think the steering and everything's okay, but yeah, just a bit of a drama.
Thanks, Todd.
I'll tell you who was involved in that incident at the top of the mountain. Car 18, Max Wilson and David Brabham's entry. David Brabham behind the wheel. Car 10, Jason Bargwanna. Car 23, the Bates boys, was also in there as well. And car 33.
Let's have a look at this again. Here we go.
So this is on the way to Skyline. No, this is on the way to Skyline. Yeah.
Into the S's.
Yeah.
The end of Skyline.
Well, crazy stuff.
And,
well, I mean,
that is staggering. There weren't more cars involved. When you think of the speed coming over here, look at this.
Unbelievable.
So Brabham and Bargwanna.
And Bargwanna, a second incident in a lap.
And look at the other Shell Ford going right across the gravel trap, car 17.
10 kilos of dirt on the way,
Hopefully,
so that'll have a radiator full of sand.
Yep, and hopefully no other damage to things like the engine ancillaries. Here's the Valvoline Repco machine in for repairs as well.
It's all this contingency stuff that's so impossible to plan for, but the good teams have got their gear laid out. They know where to put their hands on things. But how do you make provision for some of this stuff?
Safety car gets back, so if it's good enough, leave it. We'll do one lap and have another go.
That's Gary Rogers.
And the call is, we've got to stay on that lead lap, fellas. Just do what you can. Get him out there, keep him in that loop.
What about the Orcon team? Mark Larkham's with Grant Kenny.
Marco, Bugs is involved in 2 incidents there, one at Murray's and then another one up the top. What seems to be a problem?
Well, I don't know if there's a problem. There's, as you can see, the pace is hot out there, and yeah, I mean, unfortunately getting incidents that early in the race, but it's happened. Fortunately, it's only cosmetic. We're going to try and get this thing out before the pace car comes around, starting the lead lap.
So the extent of the damage at this stage, you think is just cosmetic?
It's only cosmetic, yeah.
All right, mate.